I'm really glad you've joined me tonight. Maybe you're already curled beneath the covers, the hum of the world dimming outside your window. Or perhaps you're lying still on a couch, letting the weight of the day gently slip from your shoulders. However you've arrived here, this space is made just for you, a quiet little place between waking and dreaming. Tonight, we begin a slow, thoughtful journey into something that happens to you every night, but rarely gets the spotlight it deserves. We're going to explore the landscape of sleep and the curious, luminous world of dreams that lives within it. But we won't rush. We'll drift, like a leaf on a slow stream, carried gently by wonder. And just a gentle note, I've done my best to make this narration relaxing, perhaps even sleep-inducing. But if by some chance the science keeps you awake a little longer, well, at least you'll drift off a little wiser. If you're already enjoying this moment, I'd be so grateful if you tapped the like button or subscribed for more bedtime explorations like this. And if you feel like sharing, tell me in the comments, where in the world are you listening from and what time is it there? I love watching the map of bedtime slowly light up, one soft soul at a time. As always, this video is for relaxation and educational purposes only. It's not meant to replace medical care, sleep therapy, or professional support. Now, let's take a deep breath. Let the day fall behind you and begin. There's a moment just before sleep arrives where the world begins to blur at the edges. You lie still. Your limbs, once full of errands and gestures, grow heavy. The noise of the day, the tasks, the questions, the bright logic of waking life begins to fade. It's not silence, exactly. It's more like softening. You're not asleep yet, but you're not entirely awake either. You're standing at the threshold, the gentle doorway between doing and dreaming. This moment, fleeting and fragile, is where the curtain begins to fall. Your body knows the script. Long before your conscious mind yields, your brain starts dimming the lights. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, flows in like dusk spreading across a field. Your core temperature begins to drop, a signal to the body that it's time to rest. Your heart slows, your breath deepens, your muscles loosen their grip on the day. Sleep, it turns out, doesn't arrive like a switch being flipped. It's more like a theater set, dimming act by act. And behind the curtain, the stage of your brain prepares for something extraordinary. You may think of sleep as empty, a blankness. But inside your skull, sleep is anything but still. This is the paradox. Your consciousness rests, but your brain begins one of its busiest shifts. In the darkness of your skull, the lights never fully go out. They just change hue. Imagine a stage after a play ends. The crowd leaves. The curtain drops. But backstage, the crew begins. Sets are moved. Lights are adjusted. Scripts are rewritten. The real magic of sleep begins where wakefulness ends. You're now drifting into a state called N1, the lightest stage of non-REM sleep. Here, your thoughts flicker. You might see vague images, feel your body twitch, or hear your own name, as if from far away. These are hypnagogic hallucinations, the ghostly echoes of wakefulness folding into dreams. Your brain waves slow from fast beta waves, common in alert thinking, to alpha, a more relaxed rhythm, and then further into theta, the signature of light sleep. Each wave a tide washing you deeper into the sea. By the time you enter N2, the second stage of sleep, your brain begins sealing the doors. You're harder to wake. Your body temperature drops a little more. Your heart beats more slowly. And something curious begins to appear. Sleep spindles and K complexes. Strange, beautiful bursts of electrical activity, like sparks in a dark forest. No one fully understands why they happen, but scientists believe they protect sleep, shielding you from noise, stabilizing memory, perhaps even paving the way for dreams. You are now deeper than before, but you've not yet reached the deepest part. That's next. N3, slow wave sleep. Here, your brain enters a state of rhythmic calm. Delta waves, long and slow, begin to pulse. Imagine ocean waves at night, vast, dark, and measured. This is the stage of true physical restoration. Tissues repair. Immune defenses strengthen. Energy stores rebuild. If someone were to wake you now, you might feel groggy, heavy, confused. That's because you are in the deepest well of sleep. Your body has let go almost completely. And then, quietly, invisibly, your mind prepares for something new, something stranger, more vivid and electric. You're about to enter REM. But we'll get there soon. For now, let's linger just a little longer in the mystery of this beginning, this gentle collapse of waking life. Scientists used to believe that sleep was passive, that the brain simply shut off. But nothing could be further from the truth. Sleep is active, organized, rhythmic. It is a system, a cycle, with a choreography all its own. A full night's sleep moves through these stages, from light to deep to REM, again and again, in 90-minute loops. Each loop builds on the last. Each one contributes to your healing, your memory, your mind. And yet, despite all we've learned, no one can say exactly why we sleep. We know what happens. We know what breaks when sleep is taken away. But the purpose, the deep evolutionary secret of sleep, still slips from our grasp. Perhaps that's part of the wonder. Sleep is both necessity and mystery, a biological demand and a poetic surrender. Every night, you willingly disappear and awaken new. You, the thinker, the planner, the doer, let go. You place yourself in the hands of something older than thought, older than language. You fall asleep, and inside your brain, the curtain rises on another world entirely. But this is only the first breath. Sleep has many rooms, many depths. What unfolds next is the structure, the looping, rising, falling cycle, the quiet architecture that holds your night. Let's gently step inside. Sleep is not one long drift, but a spiral, quiet, patterned, and strange. As you settle deeper into the night, your body rests still beneath the covers. But inside, your brain begins to move in loops. It dives and rises, circles and returns through stages as distinct as the turns of a tide. This is the architecture of sleep, a design, not random, a rhythm shaped by evolution and honed by time. Even in slumber, your body follows a map. One full cycle of sleep lasts about 90 minutes, from the surface down to the depths and back again. And you will ride this spiral 4, 5, sometimes 6 times through the night. The first part of each cycle begins gently, with N1 and N2, those lighter stages we met before. Here, your mind begins to loosen its grip on waking life. Thoughts fragment. Sounds blur. Your brain, once busy with the day's demands, begins to soften its focus. As the cycle deepens, you enter N3, deep sleep. This is the body's sanctuary. Muscles relax completely. Blood pressure drops. Hormones like growth hormone are released in pulses, repairing tissue, strengthening bones, healing the quiet wear of daytime living. Your brain hums at its slowest frequency now. Delta waves roll like thunderclouds across your cortex, not urgent, not sharp, but steady and slow. Each wave a gentle instruction to your body. Let go. Repair. Rebuild. Children spend more time in this deep stage, their growing bodies soaking in its restoration. As we age, this stage shortens. The scaffolding of sleep subtly shifts. Then, just as your body reaches this stillness, something curious happens. Without your awareness, your brain begins to stir again. Activity returns, but in a new shape. You rise toward the surface, not into wakefulness, but into something vivid. This is REM, rapid eye movement sleep, a world lit by dreams. In REM, your brain mimics wakefulness in some ways. Your eyes flicker beneath closed lids. Your breathing becomes irregular. Your heart may race, as if running through a story. And yet, your muscles are stilled by design, a protective paralysis, so that you do not act out the dreams your brain now paints. This balance, vivid mind, quiet body, is what makes REM so strange, so uniquely charged. And yet, like every part of sleep, it has a purpose. REM is tied to memory, to mood regulation, to creative thinking. In REM, your brain is believed to integrate the emotional tone of experience, not just the facts of what happened, but the feelings woven through them. Scientists have found that after REM sleep, people are better able to recognize emotions in others. They can make sense of the emotional weather in their own minds. So, while deep sleep repairs the body, REM seems to tend to the spirit. Two halves of the night. Two kinds of healing. A full sleep cycle, then, is not a descent and a halt. It is a dance, a rise and fall. And just when one cycle ends, the next begins. But not all cycles are the same. Your sleep changes shape as the night unfolds. In the early hours, your cycles are heavier with deep sleep. This is when your body does its deepest mending. Later, closer to dawn, REM becomes more dominant, and your dreams stretch longer, stranger, more surreal. It's as if the night has its own story arc, beginning with silence, ending in poetry, and through it all, the cycles turn quietly. You are not aware of them, but they shape your rest, your thoughts, your mornings. Sleep spindles still appear in N2, short bursts of brain activity, flickering like fireflies. Scientists believe they protect the brain from waking too easily. A train passing outside, a shift in temperature. These could pull you out of sleep. But the spindles stand guard. They may also play a role in learning, helping solidify new information, filing memories gently into place. The brain, it turns out, is not offline when you sleep. It is curating, reordering, strengthening the connections it needs, letting go of what it doesn't. This architecture, light, deep, REM, is not unique to humans. Other mammals cycle too, some in shorter bursts, some in longer waves. Dolphins, for instance, sleep one hemisphere at a time. One half of the brain rests, while the other remains alert. Birds nap in rapid, brief moments. Elephants sleep less than you'd imagine. Cats, well, they've mastered it. But across species, The rhythm persists, a choreography of rest, an inner metronome beating in the dark. And yet, this architecture can be fragile. When sleep is broken by stress, screens, pain, or noise, the cycles fracture. You might reach deep sleep less often. REM might be squeezed or delayed. You may still sleep, but not the kind that restores. Sleep efficiency, sleep depth, sleep continuity, these matter more than hours alone. A fractured night can leave you tired even after 8 hours. A smooth spiral, even if short, can feel deeper. Modern life tugs at these cycles. Light pollution, irregular schedules, blue light from devices, all can confuse the rhythm. And so, the architecture may wobble. But the good news is that the structure can rebuild. Sleep is forgiving. Given time, your brain knows how to find its rhythm again. Gentle habits help. Dark rooms, regular bedtimes, cool temperatures, winding down slowly, as you're doing now. Tonight, as you lie still, your body begins again its silent descent, stage by stage, loop by loop. You won't feel the transitions. You won't see the cycles, but they are there, beneath you, holding you, like water holds a drifting boat. Every night, you rebuild, not just the body, but thought, memory, emotion, a self remade gently while you sleep. And as you spiral through the night, you will eventually arrive in a curious place, a place where the body lies still, but the mind begins to move in images, flickering, story-like, unreal, yet deeply felt, dreams. But what are they, really? What strange work does the brain do while it dreams? And why do those stories, born from silence, feel so vividly alive? There's a point in the night, perhaps hours after you've drifted off, when something extraordinary begins inside your brain. Your breathing changes. Your pulse quickens. And though your body lies still, your eyes begin to move. Rapid, darting. Hidden behind your closed eyelids, they trace invisible lines, as if watching something unfold. This is REM sleep. REM, short for rapid eye movement, is a stage unlike any other. It's not the deepest sleep, but it may be the most mysterious. It arrives in cycles, every 90 minutes or so, and with each loop, it stretches longer, like a dream unrolling across the sky just before dawn. You don't ease into REM like you do with light sleep. You leap into it. Your brain, once slow and deep, suddenly bursts into activity. Waves of electricity surge through your cortex. Your brain in REM looks almost identical to your brain when you're awake. And yet, you are not awake. You are far from it. You are dreaming. Inside this vivid landscape, your mind becomes a painter, not bound by the logic of physics or memory. It creates scenes, emotions, entire worlds, often surreal, sometimes familiar, always strange. Scientists believe that most of your rich, narrative dreams occur during REM. The ones with movement, emotion, a story that carries you forward, even if it never makes complete sense. REM sleep is a paradox. Your brain is alive with color and chaos, while your body is almost completely paralyzed. This state, called REM atonia, is not a flaw. It's a safeguard. Without it, your muscles might act out what your mind imagines. You might run while sleeping, fight invisible shadows, so the body stills itself, a soft cage holding the dreaming self inside. Only a few small muscles are left untouched. Your eyes flickering behind closed lids, and your diaphragm, keeping breath flowing gently in and out. No one knows exactly why the eyes move in REM. Some say they track the imagined vision of dreams, as if watching the theater inside your mind. Others believe the movement is part of the brain's activation, a side effect of the storm within. But the eyes move regardless, quick, rhythmic bursts, as though you're watching something only you can see. And maybe you are. REM sleep seems to play a role in more than just dreams. It's tied closely to memory, particularly emotional memory. If deep sleep repairs the body, REM may help you process feelings, make sense of what you lived through, and soften the sharp edges of experience. In one study, people who were allowed to sleep, but had their REM cycles repeatedly interrupted, reported feeling more anxious, more irritable, more emotionally raw the next day. Another study showed that after REM sleep, people were better at interpreting facial expressions, more tuned to the emotional states of others. It's as if REM sharpens your social senses. You don't just dream during REM, you rehearse for conflict, for love, for fear. Your brain plays out simulations, practices, navigating emotional terrain, so you can move more gracefully through waking life. It's not all healing, though. Sometimes REM brings darkness, too. Nightmares, the vivid, unsettling dreams, most often bloom in this stage. And yet, even nightmares may have purpose. Some researchers believe they serve as practice runs, emotional drills, a way to prepare for danger in a safe space, so you're less surprised when fear arrives by daylight. In children, REM sleep takes up nearly 50% of the night. Their minds, still under construction, seem to require more time in this mysterious workshop. In adults, REM makes up around 20 to 25%, still enough for 4 or 5 rounds of dreaming each night. REM can be fragile. It is sensitive to alcohol, to stress, to sleep disruption. When lost, it often rebounds. On recovery nights, your body prioritizes REM, as if catching up on missed stories. Certain medications suppress it. Others, like antidepressants, alter its timing. Some neurological conditions, like REM behavior disorder, prevent the body from entering atonia, and the dreamer may act out their sleep. But for most people, REM arrives quietly, weaving its patterns across the night without notice. And when you wake from a dream, those first groggy seconds where reality feels thin, it's often REM you're waking from. The images may stay with you for a moment, a face, a place, a feeling, before dissolving like breath on glass. But even if you forget the dream, the work remains. Your brain has stirred its pot, filtered its thoughts, aired out the attic of the day. Dreams are not meaningless static. They are shaped by memory, stress, hope, biology. They are stitched together by the same mind that worries, wonders, and loves in daylight. And REM is their stage. It is a storm, electrical, invisible, internal, and yet somehow it leaves you calmer when it's done. There's so much we still don't know. Why do we dream at all? Why do certain themes repeat? Flying, falling, forgetting. Why does the brain wrap reality in metaphor when the body rests. One theory suggests that dreams are a kind of internal training ground, a way for the brain to simulate future events, to try out responses, to rehearse being alive. Others believe dreams are a side effect, a byproduct of memory processing, meaningless, but vivid. But meaning is a slippery thing. Even if dreams are random, they are felt, and feelings shape who you are. So each night, your brain lights the stage again. You sleep, and inside you, a world unfolds. Stories without writers, journeys without maps, storms of color, memory, Unanswered. And behind your still, sleeping face, the eyes move. You will cycle through REM many times before morning, each round a little longer, a little deeper into the mind's kaleidoscope. But eventually, the images will fade, the rhythm will slow, and your brain will make a quiet decision to file the dream away or to let it disappear. And then, gently, you'll float to the surface of sleep, not quite awake, but not quite lost either. There, in that quiet, liminal place, your dreaming mind begins to tell a different kind of story, not with symbols or images, but with fragments of feeling, memory, and memory's keepers. A dream begins not with a plan, but with a spark. There is no script, no conscious writer. And yet, each night, your mind creates a story, a strange, shifting story made of shadows and color, faces that melt into other faces, places that never existed but feel somehow familiar. You are the dreamer. But you are also the setting, the actor, the witness, and silently, the storyteller. Your brain, in sleep, becomes a playwright of its own inner stage. What a curious thing, to drift into unconsciousness and find yourself in the middle of a scene, already unfolding. Perhaps you're running, barefoot, chased by something you never quite see, or you're speaking fluently in a language you've never learned, or flying, effortlessly, above a place that doesn't exist on any map. None of it makes logical sense, and yet, in the moment, it feels real. Why does the brain tell stories while we sleep? The answer, like most things in neuroscience, is layered. One idea suggests that dreams are the brain's way of making sense of itself, sorting memories, feelings, and ideas, and weaving them into something the mind can hold on to. During the day, you absorb 1,000 impressions, snippets of conversation, sights from a window, the weight of a passing mood. Most of this fades from awareness, but nothing is truly lost. The sleeping brain is a keeper of fragments, and in REM sleep especially, those fragments are pulled from the shelves. Not always neatly, not always kindly, but with an instinct toward story. Think of your brain as a quilt maker, each piece cut from a different hour, a different year. Your childhood bedroom stitched beside last Tuesday's meeting. A long-lost friend seated next to a stranger's face you glimpsed in a crowd. The logic of dreams is not the logic of daytime. It doesn't ask for consistency. It doesn't care for time. What it wants is meaning, or at least shape. So the brain constructs something, a feeling made visible, a memory in metaphor, a story that says this mattered, even if you don't understand why. In this way, dreaming may be a form of emotional processing. Your mind, untethered from waking constraints, can revisit things it wasn't ready to face. Not with facts, but with images. Symbolic, strange, and deeply personal. One night, you might dream of drowning, but the water may not be water. It may be grief, a rising tide of something unspoken. Another night, you fly, but the air is not air. It's freedom, or fear of falling, or something else entirely. Dreams do not give answers. They speak in mirrors. For centuries, humans have tried to interpret them. From ancient Egypt to Freud's study in Vienna, dreams have been seen as messages from gods or keys to the unconscious. Modern science doesn't speak in myth. It speaks in networks, activity, cycles. But even here, the metaphor persists. Dreams activate parts of the brain tied to memory, emotion, imagination. The amygdala, the center for fear and feeling, is especially lit during REM. The hippocampus, where memories take root, chimes in with its echoes. And the prefrontal cortex, your seat of logic and judgment, that goes quiet, which is why your dream self doesn't question the impossible, why you can accept that the hallway never ends, or that your childhood dog is also somehow your boss. The brain, half awake in emotion and memory, but dimmed in reasoning, lets the story wander. This wandering has purpose. Some researchers propose that dreaming allows for creative recombination, connecting distant dots, solving problems in ways you'd never consider by daylight. The phrase, "sleep on it," may be more than poetic. Studies show that people who dream about a problem are more likely to find a novel solution later. Artists, inventors, musicians, many credit dreams with their greatest insights. The tune that arrived in sleep. The invention seen in a dream. The story that wrote itself behind closed eyes. Your dreaming mind has no editor, no critic, only the quiet freedom to explore what it cannot yet explain. And still, not all dreams are grand. Some are banal. You go to work. You make coffee. You forget your shoes. These may be the brain practicing for reality, rehearsing routines, refining reactions. Even here, there is value. Dreams may also serve a function in mental housekeeping, filtering what to keep and what to forget. Not every detail of your day is worth remembering, but the act of sifting, sorting, and recombining helps clear space and strengthen the memories that matter most. And so the dreaming brain tells stories, not to entertain you, but to organize you. Each dream is a moment of internal authorship, not planned, not perfect, but necessary. There is still much we don't know. Why do some people remember dreams vividly, while others forget them instantly? Why do themes repeat? Falling, being late, losing teeth. Why do certain dreams return over years, changing slightly with time, like old songs in a different key? We don't have all of the answers. Perhaps we never will. But maybe that's the point. Dreams resist easy meaning. They are born from something deeper, not meant to be solved, but witnessed. Tonight, as you sleep, your mind will tell you a story. You may not remember it, or you might carry it with you, a strange thread of color through your morning thoughts. Either way, your brain is speaking to itself, not in words, but in story, a quiet act of self-making behind the veil of rest. And as the curtain of night falls once more, and dreams begin to take form, a new question rises softly from the folds of sleep. Which memories will the dreaming brain choose to keep? And which will it let slip gently away? You carry so much. Each day adds new memories, small ones, like the taste of breakfast, larger ones, like the weight of a decision. Moments stack upon moments, layers of thought and sensation. Press gently into the folds of your mind. But your brain is not a warehouse. It is a garden. And sleep is when the gardening begins. While you rest, your brain tends to its thoughts like a quiet caretaker at dusk. It waters the roots of some memories, lets others wither gently back into the soil. This process isn't harsh. It's graceful, selective, necessary. You forget things every night, but not because you are broken, because forgetting is part of remembering. It begins early in the night, in the deep, slow waves of N3 sleep. Here, your brain replays the day's patterns, not like a video, but more like a whisper. Neurons that fired together while you learned something, a face, a fact, a feeling, fire again now, quietly, strengthening the connection. This is called memory consolidation, the process of moving memories from the short-term storehouse into more stable, lasting networks. Think of it like this. When you experience something new, your brain scribbles it down in a notepad. It's there, but fragile, easily erased. During sleep, the brain reviews those notes and decides which ones to write in ink. Some are rewritten clearly. Others are crossed out. Some are rearranged, not in perfect order, but in meaningful relation to what you already know. This work happens largely in the hippocampus, a curved structure deep in the brain, named for its resemblance to a seahorse. The hippocampus is like a courier, shuttling short-term memories to the cortex, where they can settle into long-term storage. But the hippocampus doesn't work alone. Sleep stages have their own roles to play. In deep sleep, the slow waves act like a metronome, guiding when neurons fire, organizing the timing of memory transfer. In REM, the scene changes. Now, the brain begins to integrate memories emotionally. It doesn't just preserve the facts. It weaves them into your personal story. Say you had an argument today. During REM, your brain may strip away the heat of the moment, but keep the lesson, the feeling, the insight. You wake up not remembering a dream about it, but still feeling different, softer, clearer, as if something has been sorted out while you weren't looking. This blend of structure and emotion is what makes sleep essential to learning. Students who sleep after studying retain more than those who stay awake. Even short naps, if they include deep or REM stages, can help lock in new skills. It's not just about memory, but understanding. Sleep helps the brain make connections. Not just what you learned, but why it matters. And so the gardeners of sleep continue their work. Not all memories are welcome guests. Some are trimmed back for peace. Some are reinforced to build identity. Some are simply left behind, not erased, but quietly allowed to fade. This is called synaptic downscaling, a balancing act where unnecessary or weak connections are pruned. Without it, the brain would overflow. You'd be overwhelmed by noise. Every detail of every moment fighting for your attention. Instead, sleep gives you focus. It makes space. Like a gardener who knows not every seed must bloom, your brain lets go of what is not needed. It's not always clear which memories will be chosen. Sometimes something small stays. The scent of rain, a line from a book, a stranger's smile, and something large disappears. A number, a name, and the exact words you meant to say. But there's a strange wisdom in the forgetting. Memory is not a recording. It's a narrative, always being edited, revised each night as you sleep. And in that editing, you become more you. Some scientists believe this process is tied to dreaming. That dreams are a glimpse into the sorting, the filing, the deciding. You dream of being back in school, though you haven't been there in years. Perhaps your brain is weaving together a new insight, a new emotion, from old threads. You wake up different. Not just rested, reorganized. In trauma, this process can go wrong. Memories too sharp, too tangled, can resist sleep's soft editing. In conditions like PTSD, REM sleep may fail to soothe the emotional charge. The dream repeats. The memory burns. And yet even here, sleep holds healing power. Therapies that restore REM sleep often help ease emotional pain. Night becomes safer again. So tonight, as you lie still, know this. Your mind is tending itself. It is brushing the dust from some thoughts and gently covering others. It is deciding what parts of today will become part of tomorrow. And though you will never see it happen, the rewiring, the pruning, the nurturing, you will feel the result. You are not just resting. You are becoming. Not all memories will remain, but the ones that do will be part of your garden, a quiet archive of who you are becoming. Tomorrow, you may forget what you dreamed, but deep in your brain, something will have changed, and perhaps that is enough. You don't need to remember everything. You only need to remember what matters. And sleep, graceful, ancient, silent sleep, knows how to choose. Now, as the final spindles flicker and REM rises again on the horizon, another mystery waits. What happens when you know you're dreaming and choose to step inside the dream with open eyes? You're dreaming. You're walking down a hallway that never ends. The walls are made of glass. A breeze rustles from nowhere. You see a door that wasn't there before. And suddenly, something shifts. You know, you're asleep. This world isn't real. And yet, you are still inside it. This is a lucid dream, a rare, remarkable state of awareness where the dreamer becomes both actor and observer. In a lucid dream, you are still sleeping, but something within you has gently awakened. Your brain, normally adrift in REM's wild theater, lights up with self-recognition. You realize, this is a dream. And in that realization, the dream becomes yours to shape. Not everyone has experienced it. Some brush against it briefly. Others train themselves to enter it often, turning each night into a private voyage. Lucid dreaming sits at the edge of paradox, where wakefulness touches dreaming without destroying it. It's rare because it requires something unusual. You must be conscious enough to notice the illogic of the dream, but still relaxed enough not to wake. Scientists describe this as metacognition, the ability to reflect on your own thinking. It's what lets you question, observe, know yourself as a mind in motion. Normally, during a REM sleep, this function rests. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic and self-awareness, stays quiet while the rest of the brain dances. But in lucid dreams, this region flickers awake. Imaging studies show that the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, silent in most dreaming, reignites just enough to give you that strange, shimmering clarity. And with that light comes possibility. Some lucid dreamers simply observe. They float gently through the dream, like a ghost in their own memory. Others engage. They walk through walls, fly above forests, ask questions of dream people, visit loved ones long gone, or simply sit, feeling what it is to know and still dream. It sounds like fantasy, but it's a well-documented phenomenon. People have been studying lucid dreaming for centuries. The Tibetan Buddhists called it dream yoga, a practice of using lucid dreams to develop insight, control, even compassion. In the 1970s, sleep researchers began to prove it scientifically. Dreamers, trained to become lucid, would signal researchers from within REM sleep by moving their eyes in pre-arranged patterns, left, right, confirming awareness without waking. Inside the scanner, the brain glowed. Lucid dreaming was no longer just anecdote. It was real, visible, mappable. And now, we ask, what can it teach us? Lucid dreams may offer a unique way to explore the mind's inner architecture. You're not just watching dreams, you're moving through them with intention. In waking life, fears and desires are constrained by reality. But in dreams, those constraints dissolve. You can face what scares you without danger. You can rehearse decisions, practice skills, or simply wander the surreal terrain of your own imagination. Some therapists use lucid dreaming to help people with recurring nightmares. By learning to recognize the dream and shape its course, the dreamer can reclaim agency within the story. But lucid dreaming is delicate. Push too hard, and you wake. Control too much, and the dream collapses. It's a balance, a dance between surrender and direction. And not every lucid dream is peaceful. Awareness can invite fear. Realizing you're dreaming can be disorienting, even terrifying, especially if the dream turns dark. But even these experiences can be instructive. They reveal something fundamental, that you are not just the passenger of your inner world. You are, at times, the navigator. Can anyone learn to lucid dream? Perhaps. Some people seem naturally inclined, having spontaneous lucid dreams since childhood. For others, it takes practice. Techniques exist: mental exercises, sleep schedules, journaling, and reality checks. Before bed, you might repeat, "Tonight, I will know I'm dreaming." During the day, you might look at your hands. Ask yourself if you're awake. Train your mind to question its reality, so the habit carries into the dream. It doesn't always work. But sometimes the suggestion takes root. And one night, you find yourself in a strange room. The clock changes when you blink. The light bends oddly. And you realize, this is not real. This is a dream. The moment may be brief. The dream may shift the instant you notice. But that instant stays with you. There's something powerful about waking up inside your own mind. It blurs the lines between thought and experience, between imagination and presence. Even when it ends, you may carry the feeling into your day, a strange kind of clarity, like having glimpsed yourself from a new angle. Lucid dreaming is not better than ordinary dreaming. Both serve their purpose. Both have their mystery. But lucidity offers a rare window, a chance to witness the dreaming mind at work and know that it is you. And maybe, in that space, you meet parts of yourself you'd forgotten. Curious, brave, or simply quiet. You won't always find it. Lucid dreaming cannot be forced. It arrives like a shift in the wind, a moment of stillness inside motion. But when it comes, it reminds you that even in sleep, some small part of you remains curious, still watching the stars flicker from beneath closed eyes. And then, as the dream fades, as lucidity gives way to ordinary sleep once more, you return to the quiet stream of the night, less aware, but no less full of story. For not all dreams are lucid, and not all need to be. Many drift past you without recognition, shaped not by will, but by emotion, by memory, by something deeper than thought. And sometimes those dreams turn dark. Shadows grow longer. Fear takes form. And the question becomes, what does it mean when the dreaming mind turns toward fear? Not all dreams are gentle. Some arrive on a colder wind. You're running, but your legs won't move. You're falling endlessly. You're shouting, but no sound comes. The setting may be strange. A burning house, a twisting hallway, or simply a face you cannot forget. But the feeling is familiar. Fear. A nightmare is a dream touched by fire. It sears instead of soothes, and yet it may have a purpose. You are not broken when you dream of fear. You are not cursed. You are human. And your brain, even in sleep, is trying to help you survive. Nightmares are a natural part of dreaming. Almost everyone experiences them at some point. For children, they can be frequent visitors, born from newness, uncertainty, growing minds. For adults, they often emerge after stress, trauma, or deep emotional shifts. But no matter the cause, nightmares tend to visit in REM sleep, when dreams are most vivid, and the emotional centers of the brain burn brightly. During REM, the amygdala, the part of your brain most closely tied to fear and arousal, is highly active, more active even than when you're awake. This is no accident. REM sleep is the brain's theater for emotional processing, and fear is one of the loudest actors. But fear in dreams isn't always negative. In fact, some scientists believe that nightmares serve a protective role, what's called the threat simulation theory. According to this idea, nightmares act like emotional flight simulators. They allow your brain to rehearse responses to danger in a safe, controlled environment. You're chased, but no one catches you. You fall, but you wake before you hit the ground. You lose someone, but you return to the surface, whole. These simulations may help fine-tune your reactions, sharpen your instincts, prepare your emotional resilience. Of course, not every nightmare feels helpful. Some leave you shaken. You wake with a racing heart, a film of sweat on your skin, the image of the dream still clinging like mist to your thoughts. These moments are real. The fear is real. But they pass. And often what they leave behind is not just terror, but insight. The content of nightmares is often symbolic. Your brain speaks in metaphors, layering recent stressors onto deeper emotional themes. You may not dream about the thing that hurt you. Instead, your dream may dress it in something strange, a storm, a broken bridge, a shadow. This is how the brain processes complexity. It doesn't offer a direct transcript. It paints instead. Sometimes, though, the brush strokes become too intense. Nightmares can grow chronic, recurring, unbearable. This is especially true for those with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. In PTSD, the brain's natural dreaming process seems to get stuck. The emotional intensity of REM fails to soften, and the same nightmare repeats night after night. Here, REM becomes less about healing and more about reliving, as if the mind cannot find its way forward. But even here, there's hope. Therapies exist that work gently with the dream, helping the dreamer rewrite the ending or shift the narrative. One method is called imagery rehearsal therapy, IRT. The dreamer writes down the nightmare, then rewrites it with a different, safer outcome. By imagining this new version before sleep, the brain begins to shift, to soften the old pattern, and carve a new path. And with time, the dream changes. The fear recedes. Sleep becomes safer again. For others, nightmares are rare, but still powerful. They may arrive after a stressful day, or during illness, or after watching something unsettling. The brain is sensitive. It responds to what you feed it. And sometimes it needs to speak back. When nightmares come, they ask for attention, not panic, not avoidance, but gentle noticing. What might this dream be trying to say? What fear is asking to be witnessed? Even if you cannot answer, the act of wondering matters. Curiosity is a balm. And remember, the dream does not control you. You always return. The morning always comes. Nightmares are intense, yes, but they are only one part of the dreaming spectrum. And often, they signal that your mind is actively working to make sense of something it cannot yet name. There are ways to reduce their intensity. A stable sleep routine, a calming bedtime ritual, avoiding caffeine, alcohol, and heavy stimulation before bed, practicing mindfulness or journaling before sleep to settle the emotional landscape. These small habits build safety. They signal to the brain, you are not in danger now. You are safe to rest. And even when a nightmare does come, you can learn to greet it differently. Not as an enemy, but as a messenger. Sometimes the message is muddled. Sometimes it is clear. Either way, it passes. And when it does, your body calms, your breath slows, and sleep returns. Because even after fear, the brain seeks balance. After the storm of the nightmare, a gentler dream may follow, or deep, dreamless sleep, a kind of peace, a kind of resetting. Some cultures see nightmares not as accidents, but as important visitors, dreams that carry warnings, insights, or instructions. Others see them as spiritual thresholds, opportunities to release emotion, to confront shadows, to heal. Whether you see nightmares as biology, metaphor, or both, they are part of the sleeping life. Not failures, not flaws, just another room in the house of sleep. And even when you dream of darkness, you are still wrapped in the protective rhythm of the night. Your body is still resting. Your brain is still working. You are still becoming. Tonight, if a nightmare comes, remember this. It cannot break you. It is just a shape, a passing pattern in the starscape of your mind. And beyond it, always, comes the next dream, the next breath, the next cycle. Because sleep, like the sea, carries on. And just ahead, the tide begins to shift again, not into fear, but into the softness of growth. How does the dreaming mind change as the brain itself grows and develops? What do children dream of? And what happens as we grow older and the dreams begin to change? You were dreaming before you had words, long before you could walk or speak, or long before you knew your name. Your sleeping brain lit up with flickers of inner life. Infants spend half their sleep in REM, more than any other time in life. That quiet, stormy stage of rapid eye movement holds them each night in an unseen world. They do not dream as we do, with characters and plots and symbolic echoes. Their minds are still gathering pieces, learning what the world even is. But even so, something moves behind those fluttering lids. Perhaps not stories, but sensations, color, motion, sound, the earliest drafts of a dreaming self. Sleep is the canvas on which the growing brain sketches its future. And in the first months of life, REM is the brush it uses most. As a child grows, so too does their dreaming brain. REM sleep decreases, slowly, gently. By age 5, it settles to about 25% of total sleep time, a balance that will remain through most of life. And dreams begin to take shape. Young children's dreams are different. They tend to be short, simple, centered on animals, movement, familiar places. Often, the child is a silent observer, not yet the central figure. The dream flows around them, like a stream they're just learning to step into. As language develops, so too does dream complexity. Stories lengthen, characters multiply, emotion takes root. And by the time a child reaches